Welcome to part 2 of Let's Talk Singles Inferno season 4. So for today's episode, I'm going to talk about a lot of things. I'm talking about the episode, my thoughts on the episode, and my thoughts on the cast progressing from episode 1 to episode. Obviously, if you've watched episode 1, if you've not watched it, please, like my talk on episode 1, go back. I think I'm going to link it. There's a playlist, Let's Talk by Ochuko's diary, so you can check out my part 1. But let's go to part 2. So I have a lot of thoughts. I'm going to just list them out. My main focus in this video is Jonu. Sian, as always, she's a favorite for me. Arin, this episode was a little out there as well, and also Tio. These were like, the people that really stood out to me, and I'm going to explain them because there's a lot of highlights in episode 2. So let's get on with episode 2. Episode 2 starts from where we left off in episode 1. So I'm just gonna explain a little bit and talk about it. That's how we do it here. Okay. So episode 2 starts from where we left in episode 1. So for episode 2, the girls remaining on the island, the girls part, they are put to the test. They have a little challenge where the winner gets to go to the guys side, because they already know that there's a guy side and there's a girl side, obviously. So guess our lucky winner, Arin, wins and she gets to go to the guy side. So she meets 3 people. Those are like the guys remaining: Theo, Taewon, and I think it's Dongho. And so off the bat, we get to see her just like click with the 3 of them. She's very nice and they are very nice to her as well, so it just works out well. I think what sticks out is that from the onset you could see that Theo and Taewon are kind of laid back, but you would see that Dongho has kind of like an interest in her. So we'll get on with her later on. So we are taken back to like the paradise couple people, the two couples that went to paradise, which is Sian and Jongsu, and Jonso and Yeojin. So they are in an helicopter and you can see a lot of like touching and all that. Everybody's feeling themselves and everything. But I want to go back and say something before that helicopter scene. So like I said, Arin is really out there in this episode compared to where like episode 1, where I was not really noticing her. I think she's more out, even more than Jiyeon, who is like my own favorite of the season. So I like her. I think I like her. That's what I think. I actually like her because she's very out there. In episode 2, we might change our minds in episode 3. Now I'm going to do this, right? Arin's part, I'm going to break it into 2 parts. We're talking about Arin and going to like the guys Inferno and clicking with Dongho, and I think she also clicked with Taeho as well. So my thoughts on that is Arin seems like a very laid back, chill girl for me, and people like that often should go for like people who are more chatty to kind of balance it out. But it's very clear that she likes Taeho a bit more than she likes Dongho. I don't know if I'm capping, I don't really know, but we see it later in the episode that she and that Dongho actually really liked her and goes for her when they start choosing, which is an interesting part of this episode I'm going to get right into. But my thoughts on Arin is just she's very laid back, but she did push herself a little bit more in episode 2, and I saw that she has a lot of fight in her. And I was thinking when I saw the cast that Jiyeon is going to be the more physical person, but I don't think she's that physical. Maybe, you know what, we're open to a lot of things coming in, like from episode 5 and 6, and episode 5 and 6 that is out, and I've watched it and I have written my thoughts as well. Okay, so that's just my thoughts on Arin. Let's move on to like the helicopter scene. I'm going to note 2 things that I'm going to come back in episode 6 for when I'm talking about episode 6. When they were sitting in the helicopter scene, usually when maybe it's me that's overthinking it, but there was Jongsu, Sian in the center, Jonso in the center with her, and Yeonjin close to the window. Now it is very clear, people who have watched episode 6 will understand what I'm saying, that Jonso and Sian are not actually a bad couple. Like I didn't really sit down and think about it well, but I do like them as a couple. They're like the it boy and it girl of the season, and I don't know, I've never really seen the it boy and it girl of the season so far from season 1 to 4 ever come together, and I will not mind it. I'm just saying that I won't mind it. Okay, it's gonna be interesting because they all have people liking them, and then it just decides to just push those people away and just go get together. It would be so fun. But I don't know if the producers are going to allow that to happen, because it's going to remove from the drama, or maybe even add to it. Who knows, right? Who knows? So back in, but the two couples, I think the highlight was the helicopter scene when they were just touching each other and, you know, whispering. Someone's like, this one would Yeonjin would talk to Junso, and Sian would talk to, like, that was fun. That was fun. But I think the highlight of the paradise was certainly Junso drawing a verse for our girl. It was so nice, so nice. I love that scene. That's just my thoughts on the paradise scene. So like I said yesterday, they were separated. The two guys, Junso and Jungsu, are then transported to the girls singles Inferno, while Sian and Yoonjin are transported to the boys singles Inferno, or this boys Inferno, where Arin now is. So you have to understand the dynamics here. So we have, on one hand, we have Sian, Eugene, Arin, Theo and Taewon. I think Theo and Taewon, plus Donggu as well in one Inferno. Then the next Inferno we have Jiyeon, my girl. We have Haejin, Minsol, Junso and Junsuk in one. So 5 and 6. Okay, you wanna, these dynamics, you have to understand them. So going into episode 2, deeper into episode, when they separated them like this, they also obviously have to start like talking to people. Sian talks to a lot of the guys, the 3 guys. Eugene does the same, and trying to pick up the vibe on who likes you and who doesn't like you. So in case you have to choose, which is like the normal thing that happens in Singles Inferno. On the other side, we see them do the same thing, and this is where my thoughts, my 2 cents come in. When Junso talks to the other girls, I didn't feel like the spark. But when he talks to Jiyeon, I'm like, okay, there's a spark there. Like, she was very shy, flirty, and just laughing, and he was laughing, and I was like, okay, these people are going to click. But guess what? They don't click, and he ends up going with like the person I least expected. Oh, but I'm not going to, that's like the ending of episode 2 to episode 3, but he ends up going with me, so which threw me off. It threw Dex off, it threw everybody on the panel off, because everyone was like expecting him to go with Jiyeon, but it doesn't work. So that's like the highlight of the first Inferno. So the second Inferno, we have a dynamic. Obviously we have 3 guys and 3 girls. You're expecting at least 2 couples to come out, right? Guess what? 2 couples do not come out. Only 1 couple ends up going to paradise from that place where there's 6 people, 3 guys and 3 girls, which is equal. So at least 2 should come out. It doesn't happen. I'm going to explain how it happens, because it blew my mind away when they did it like that. So there's like a circle. It's a circle, and our girl stands on top, Lysian. Okay, put some respect on her name. I'm just so, she reminds me so much of Songjia in a very chatty way. She isn't really stuck up. She talks to everyone. She has that ability to just talk to people, and I like people like that. So I'm not even upset that she's the most popular person between the guys and the girls. She just has that vibes, right? Okay, so for Sian, so like this is how it happens. Sian and Yeonjin go to their Inferno, obviously, and they get to meet Arin and find out that the other 2 girls are in the other Inferno, and you know, they have to chat and whatever. So they're talking, right? They are talking a bit. They talk and talk and talk, and then off the bat, even the judges were like, okay, this is how it's going to play out. Donggo chooses Arin, Arin chooses Donggo, they go to paradise, right? You would think that was what's going to happen, but that's not what happens. Instead, this is what happens, because I can understand Eugene not really picking anybody that would pick her, because she hasn't really been there long enough to understand the dynamics like Arin. Arin was supposed to understand that if someone shows an interest to you, at least just, because it's like a game, okay? It's a game where there's a certain person that has that certainty to pick you. You just have to pick that person. She doesn't get that hint, and I think later in the episode she does regret it, that if she had known, she would just have picked Donggo, and Donggo starts to lose interest too. Like I was saying, so we have that dynamic. This is what happens, and this shocked me. So we start with Eugene. Eugene picks, guess who? Donggo, because even when they were conversing, I could see that they had like a lot more interest. I'm just very sick, but I'm gonna go through this video. Who cares, right? So she picks Donggo. I don't blame Eugene for picking Donggo. Nobody would have picked her, so it's very, very understandable to pick is like the only person she really clicked with, okay? Compare, and she was trying to keep, I know deep down she's doing what her son did in season 3, where she's not really that interested in anybody because she's just very interested in Guanhe, but she's open to seeing things and seeing people. But it's not like she has to put that much effort. If it comes, it comes. It doesn't come, it doesn't come. And I like people like that. So Eugene picks Dongo picks, guess who? His girl Arin. And this is where the fuck up starts, because she was supposed to pick Dongo back, but no, she ends up picking Teho. I told you she had like a little thing going on for Teho. She picks Teho picks who? Sian. And guess who picks Sian again? Taehwan, the quiet narcissistic guy who said his face is enough to stop somebody from beating his ass up. That's the guy. And guess Sian ends up picking Jang Tae, which is very good for me. I like Tae and Sian's dynamic. That's just really where season episode 2 ends, because wow, episode 2 wasn't as dramatic as episode 1, but that little circle that happens towards the ending was really, really, really fun for everybody. Because what are my thoughts on my rankings after episode 2? My ranking is always going to change, because when I watch episode 5 and 6, my rankings change completely. I'm just going to put it out there before that episode comes up that I'm not, when I put somebody lower on my ranking, it's not because I hate them now or anything. I don't hate it. I feel like all the cast are putting in an effort, but sometimes when you go into a competition, it just doesn't work out the way you think. So many of the women, so many of the men came into that competition thinking they were going to be the most popular one, and that's not just what happened. I think you always come in with that mentality, which is not a bad mentality, but it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it's just not cutting it out. So, and the directors will not want to put a situation where you are putting one person, every time you're giving that person screen time and the person is not giving you anything in return, in the sense that the person doesn't have content, like worthy content for the person to have screen time. I don't know how to explain it. Just know what I'm saying. When you come to someone like Choi Hae-sun and Guanhe is going to be a good example for me. Guanhe was supposed to be the it boy, like he was already put out there to be that, like it was structured well for him, and he had a lot of moments that were worth filming, giving screen time to. Then we have Hae-sun. Hae-sun was not the obvious choice to be the it girl or the most popular girl, the most followed girl in the house, but I think it just happened that way. Okay, it's the same with Big Brother. When you watch Big Brother, you don't, when you're in the house you think you're popular or you think you're not popular, and then you come out, you win, and you're like, how did I win? But it's the more you keep staying that determines, like you start realizing, oh, maybe I'm actually really popular. That's just how it is. And this show is filmed like sometimes 8 months before it's aired, so you can't really tell who's going to be the popular person. It just ends up being that way. So that's just one thing, and I think that's why a lot of people like Jiyeon, but Jiyeon is not having enough screen time, because maybe Jiyeon during filming wasn't really like the best choice to be popular, but she's the most mentioned cast member so far. Like, you have to go on TikTok, you're seeing Jiyeon. She made me even want to watch, and I was thinking like she has a lot of scenes, but you can accumulate all her scenes and it's not even up to 10 minutes, because everybody, I think Sian has the most scenes so far. We have Jonso as well. Jonso is an obvious it boy too. I'm not even surprised. He has this look. And then there's also Teo. Teo may not have been the obvious choice for the directors too, but he's very popular as well. So it just happens like that. That's just my ranking doesn't change the fact that I love Jiyeon. I think she's a very nice girl, but she's not gonna have enough screen time, because even in episodes 5 and 6 I wasn't seeing anything. But we know what, we still have 6 more episodes, and my mind can change at any time. You know, anything can influence. But I'm just going to give I'm going to be giving rankings at the ending of every episode. So these are my rankings for episode 2. These are my rankings for episode 2. Firstly, we start with the girls. There's Lee Sian, had the most screen time and was very out there. In fact, has always been a topper from episode 1. Arin really put herself, Arin is number 2, she really put herself out there in episode 2, and just hope in the coming episode she's able to understand who likes her and who she's going to stick with. 3 is Jiyeon. Jiyeon has always, the dressing is eating, she just looks good all the time, and she's always in her own space, so I like that for her. 4 is Eugene. Eugene comes down a little bit more because this episode she wasn't really strategic enough for me. I wanted her to be more strategic and she wasn't strategic at all. 5 is going to be main soul because I can see she's more ferocious. Like, she is somebody that was a go-getter, and you can see it in her face. If she's not happy, she's like, okay, I like that little face thing she does with her face when she's not happy. And then my last will have to be Heijin has to give me more. I don't know how to explain it. She reminds me of someone. I don't know if it's someone from season 3 anyways, but these are my rankings for episode 2, and I hope it changes in episode 3. The girls have to step it up. These are my rankings for the guys in episode 2 after watching episode 2 anyways. Obviously I have to put Jang Tae as my number 1. Why? Tae just has this vibe that just sticks. I don't know how to explain it. He's funny, he's in his own world, he's very nice to the girls, and I think that it just works for me, because I'd rather somebody who's nice than somebody who's nice to me and not nice to girls. He's nice to everyone, and he's very, you don't have to do too much when you're with him. It covers up for you. I also like Jonso. Even if Jonso has his own red flags, always in his own head somehow. He's a very nice. Is it not nice? He looks good and he carries every episode he's in. So obviously he has to be number 2. 3 has to be Jungsu. Why do I give Jungsu? Jungsu is a laid back guy, but I think he's exploring his options, because you have 10 days, you just have to explore as much as you can. And even if I know he likes Sian, I think he just wants to explore at the end of the day, to be very sure. And that's not a bad mentality, because it's a show where sometimes you may not even end up with the person you think you're supposed to end up with. So I think it works. 4 will have to be Dongho. Dongho pushed himself a little bit more than Taewon. Taewon is just there. I think he's waiting for his babe to come, because I don't know if the babe is there with the girls yet, and he hasn't really met everybody. And Taewon has to be like my last. I'm warming up to him a little bit, but he's gonna have to do a little bit more in episode 3. So this is my rant of episode 2, and I hope to see you in episode 3's rant. If you have not watched episode 1, go watch it. Goodbye. Bye.